அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். I am Dr. M. Satya, Assistant Professor, Department of History. Today I mentioned about Dhakshanamurthi, the Lord of the South. In this paper, I have to traced to bring attention of the eminent scholars to accept the essence of the cult of Shiva, known as Saivism, is one of the oldest faith in the world and most widely spread in India. Shiva means in whom all things lie and connected to kind, benevolent and friendly. The third among Hindu Tirumurti in the Veda, he was known as Rudra, the terrible god, the destroying deity, but in the later time it became used to give that the god epistematic name Shiva, the auspicious one. Shiva is identified with the symbolic form of Linga and anthropomorphic forms like Bhairava, Nadaraja, Veerabhadramurti, Chandrasekhar, Uma Maheshwara, Dhakshanamurthi, etc. In the paper, I attempt to analyze the imaginary of Shiva, Dhakshanamurti in the context of temple. Dhakshanamurti form. Dhakshanamurti image is on the southern Devakosta of the Garbhagriha. Four-armed Lord Shiva is seated below the Veda Vrakshas. Veda Vrakshas means in Tamil Vilvamaram. The tree is much decorated. The Naga and the drum appeared in the Parahastas. Parahastas means the hand on the backside. The front two hands are Abhaya and Varada Mudra. The demon is at the foot of the Lord. The Agamas mention 25 sporty forms, that is Leela Murtis of Shiva, most of which are usually met within the South Indian temple. One of the more important of this Dhakshanamurti in Chola temples, this image generally occupy niche in the southern wall of the central shrine. Dhakshanamurti or Dharma Vyagnana Murti is the form of Shiva engaged in yoga or philosophic contemplation. Story of Dhakshanamurti. Once upon a time, Daksha, the father-in-law of Shiva, insulted him and his consort Uma by not inviting them to a sacrifice, which he was performing. Uma nevertheless went uninvited to her father's house, but being grossly neglected, jumped into the sacrificial fire pit and destroyed herself. Shiva was furious. He created out of lock of his hair and terrible Veerabhadra who destroyed Daksha. Shiva then retired to a forest with resolve not to marry again and sat beneath a banyan tree, deeply engaged in meditation. The gods were much concerned. Lot of it meant that the world would lose the benefit of Shiva direct intervention is its affairs. The accordingly induced Karma, the god of love, to stir up once again in the mind of Shiva and Dharmad, empires of love. The foolhardy Kama incautiously approached the god, engaged in meditation, and shot his flowery arrows at him, hit him. Shiva then opened his eye of fire and looked straight at Kama, where he was at once reduced to heap of ashes. Still Kama had succeeded, for soon afterward Shiva gave up his penance and married once again Uma, who had now incarnated as Parvati, the beautiful daughter of Himavat, the Himalayas. This is the story of Dhakshanamurti. He is always conceived to be a youthful teacher seated beneath a banyan tree, teaching aged people and removing their doubts by his very silence. General posture. The general posture of the image of Dhakshanamurti shows him with his right leg bent vertically at the knee and placed on the body of the dark demon Abhasmara, and the left leg bent across so as to rest upon the right thigh. He was a calm countenance, indicative of perfect peace within. His matted locks are formed into a Jada Makuda tied together by a serpent. The body is besmeared with the ashes, and all the usual ornaments of Shiva decorate him. The sages Narada, Jamatkani, Vasistha, and Pigu sit at his feet on the right side, receiving the instruction, while Bharadvaja, Saunaka, Agastya, and Bhargava sit on the left. The bull vehicle of the god, the denizens of the forest, Kinnaras, and other demigods are also seen on the Kailasha mountain on which the god is seated. His right forearm point the Jamamudra, the pose conveying philosophical knowledge, and the back arm hold the rosary. The left forearm shows the boon conferring Varada attitude, the back of the palm resting on the left knee. Sirpa Sastras, Dhakshanamurthi is the Lord who is seated in meditation to teach rishis of eminence. Sastras talk of 4 or 5 variations between this Murti. They are Kashya Pasil Pastara, Padalam 79, Dharma Vyagnana Murti, Veenadara Murti, Jana Murti, and Yoga Murti. They are Sagala Adhikara, first Agastya, and Vyagna Deva. They are Sagala Adhikara of Agastya, Vyagna Deva, Saraswati Ya Chitra Kama Vastara, Vyagnana Murti, and Yoga Murti, Silpa Ratna, Dhakshanamurthi, Veenadara Dhakshanamurthi, Sri Dhana Vanidhi, and Karanga Ma Dhakshanamurthi or Vyagna Murti. One more is Kamadana Murti. From the above prescription, it could understand that there are not less than 5 variables under Dhakshanamurthi. They are types of Dhakshanamurthi, Vyagnana Murti, Vyagnana Deva, or Dakshana or Dharma Vyagna Murti, who teach the Dharma. Veenadara Murti, who carries the Veena to preach the Vedas. Jnana Murti, who is embodiment of Jnana, wisdom. Yoga Murti, who is pinnacle of yoga, meditation. According to the Karangama, Dhakshanamurthi as the holy ashes, Bhashma in Tamil Niru, smeared all over the body. His body is illuminating. Because of this, he bears the Chandrakala and the tiara. His 4 hands bear Nanamudra, Jabamala, Veena, Pustaka. Those hands bearing this emblem shine like lotus flowers. He is seated on Vyagnapida wearing Yoga Pata. The rishis, Sagala Munis, respect him. He is crystal clear, Santa, wear all sarbas, snakes, and as hide of the elephant for his garment. He is Parameshwara, who is Dhakshanamurthi Swarupa. He protects us all of time. Narada, Jamatkani, Vasistha, and Pirugu are attending on the Lord to the right, to the left, and Bharadvaja, Sanaka, Agastya, and Bhargava Parasurama. He is on the Kailasha Parvata, seated below the all are Vada Vriksha, and Kinnaras attended on him. He is the Ishvara of Sarvaloka, all the world. He is Santa by Guna. He is Santa Swarupa Murti, who is Parameshwara, otherwise called Dhakshanamurthi. At the bottom of his foot, Abhasmara, according to the Kashyapa Silpa Sastra, Padalam 79, Veenadara is Saturpucha. Seated below the Vada Vriksha, he bears the Naga or Artha Chandra of moon on his Jada Maguda. He is also decorated with the Umatai, Saudara Postasa flowers. He wears white garment. He is attended by Narada, Jamatkani, Vasistha, Pirugu, and among other Kinnaras. He is seated in Utkudi Kasana. The Puruvastas hold the Veena. Pallava and Cholava period. Dhakshanamurthi is a form of peculiar to the Tamil country. It is the earliest iconographic representation have been traced since the time of Rajasimha Pallava, who erected the Kailashanatha temple. Structural temple in Kanchi accommodate the Murti in various forms. Among other temples are those of the Pallavas at Tirukkalunkundram, Takkolam and Tiruttani. Among the cave temples of Keralite Cave Temple, Irunilam Kodu, houses of the image in Garbhagraha, it is attest of fact that Dhakshanamurthi was variable cult image. Veenadhara Murti is popular in Chola art in both stone and bronzes. Among the early Pandian monolithic temple, the Vettuvan Koil at Kalugumalai provides Miridanga Dhakshanamurti, who instead of Veena hold the Miridanga. Other form of Shiva, example Arthanarishwara in cave number 1, Badami, and Veerabhadra among the Sabda Matrikas in cave number 14 at Ellora, hold the Veena. This is to prove the fact that the Lord Shiva is not only an expert in dance as Nataraja, but was fond of music and so-called Sabda Vasmaya or Swaramya in Tamil Nigayanavan. The Pokkanam. In the microcosm, we get at least one representation of the important event that taken place socio-economic cultural level in the macro region of Cholamandalam. The form of Lord Shiva, who sat under banyan tree and explained the philosophic truth to 4 sages, is called Dhakshanamurti, God who faces the south. The Devaram trio describe the God of the south in respective Tirumurtis. Among two, Sundarar says that this God, in the posture communicating wisdom through this Sin Mudra, was listened to intently not only by great sages like Sanaka and celestial like Kinnaras, but also by the wild creatures like lion, tiger, snakes in the forest. Generally, Dhakshanamurti is shown in the sculptural representation as seated cross-legged Virasana with the lower right hand showing Sinamudra. This depiction are in the tune with the description given in the Akamas and other sculptural texts. But there are few rare sculptures of the god since the days Rajaraja the Great 985 to 1014 AD, in which we find the animals mentioned by Sundarar and a few more also added by the Lord's feet. We came to the conclusion. Since the beginning of this century, certain pockets have been occupied by Muslims whose growing number and the concomitant dwindling Hindu population has rendered the Bhakti variety of Shiva temple highly neglected, dilapidated. Hence, this micro-level study forms as a basis of study changing the religious scenario of the wider region of the Tamil country.
Thank you.